Breaking news. As of this morning, February 3rd, 2026, the strategic map of Europe has fundamentally shifted.
It really has.
Ukraine has just taken delivery of a massive upgrade to its unmanned capabilities. And we are not talking about, improvised quadcopters dropping grenades anymore.
Yeah, this is a whole different league.
We are talking about British-made heavy-lift drones that have just doubled their operational range to a staggering 2,000 kilometers.
And just to put that number into perspective, 2,000 kilometers.
Yeah.
That's the distance from London to Marrakesh.
Wow.
Or, in the context of this war, from launch sites deep in western Ukraine to targets well beyond the Ural Mountains.
So this effectively places deep rear Russian logistics. We're talking fuel depots, ammo dumps, command centers that were previously considered untouchable.
The safe zones.
Exactly. They are now directly in the crosshairs of autonomous Ukrainian supply lines. It's a complete rewriting of the rules.
It is. And before we really break down the specs and the sheer scale of this mobilization, if you support Ukraine and you want to stay ahead of the curve, or subscribe to Defense Reports, it's your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports.
I'm Alex. Join me with Arya in the latest podcast by Defense Report for sharp, no-nonsense breakdowns of the latest in global defense news, military technology, and strategic developments. And today we are covering the Windracer's Ultiare.
They're calling it the Jeep of the Skies, and it's part of this record-breaking 350 million drone push by the UK.
But the Ultiare is really just one piece of the puzzle, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We're also going to dissect Project Dakota US, which sounds like science fiction, but it's a very real solution to the drone swarm problem, using cheap drones to physically ram other drones out of the sky.
And on top of that, we're going deep on the Brave One data room, where AI is being trained on just terabytes of frontline footage to fight autonomous wars at a speed that, human reflexes just can't match.
And we'll also get into why, in an era of stealth composites and million-dollar sensors, maybe the most important tool for maintaining these advanced aircraft is a hammer.
Right. So the mission for this deep dive isn't just to list specs. It's to understand what some are calling the democratization of air power. We're seeing how a coalition, led by the UK and Latvia, is building a wartime pace industrial base that is, frankly, terrifying to massive, slow-moving armies.
Okay, so let's get into it. The Windracer's Ultiare.
Yeah, let's start there. We've seen earlier versions in theaters since late 2023, but this new announcement is the real game changer.
The jump in capability is just immense. I mean, the previous models were effective for, let's call them regional hawks, about 1,000 kilometers.
Okay.
Doubling that to 2,000 while keeping a payload of over 100 kilograms completely changes the strategic calculus. And sources are saying they're pushing for 200 kilos soon.
200 kilograms. That's a huge amount of cargo. We aren't talking about a single mortar shell. That's enough for heavy machine gun ammo, medical supplies for an entire platoon, or very specialized EW sensors.
It creates a capability that fills a desperate need. But what really strikes me about the Ultiare isn't just the range, it's the philosophy behind it.
You're talking about that Jeep analogy. I was looking at the design, and it's not sleek. It doesn't look like a Predator or a Reaper. It's boxy, twin engine, and honestly, it looks a bit agricultural.
And that is its single greatest strength. It's built primarily from aluminum.
Which is a brilliant move when you think about supply chains. If you're building a Reaper, you're competing for high-grade aerospace composites, carbon fiber.
Things that are expensive and have month-long lead times.
Right, but aluminum, you can source that from the automotive industry. It's everywhere.
Precisely. You're not creating a bottleneck in your high-tech aerospace manufacturing. You are using a material that is abundant and, crucially, easy to work with. It allows for mass production.
And it allows for field repairs. This is where that hammer story comes in. The CEO, Simon Mudarak, told this story about an Ultiare crashing into a snowbank and hitting a hangar.
Right.
In a carbon fiber airframe, a crack like that means it's done, a total write-off.
But with aluminum, the ground crew literally took a hammer, banged the dents out of the fuselage, checked the systems, and sent it right back up. That's what they call cost tolerance. In a high-attrition war, you don't need a perfect hangar queen. You need a truck that works in the mud.
That ruggedness is key, but I don't want to undersell the tech inside. This isn't just some big remote control plane. The term the Ministry of Defense is using is masterless avionics.
And this is a critical distinction. Masterless means it operates without a pilot in the loop, and most importantly, without depending on GPS.
Which is notoriously unreliable on the front lines.
Because of the jamming. Exactly. We know the Russians have blanketed the front with electronic warfare systems that scramble GPS signals. A standard drone flies into that bubble, gets lost, and just falls out of the sky.
So how does this one handle it?
Masterless avionics implies it uses an inertial navigation system, but it's paired with visual terrain matching. So the drone is literally looking at the ground, comparing it to a map it has stored internally, and it knows exactly where it is.
Regardless of what a jammed GPS signal is telling it.
Exactly. It can fly its entire mission, drop the cargo, and return home, all while maintaining complete radio silence.
So it's a ghost. No radio emissions to track, no pilot link to jam. It just does the job. But let's zoom out to the strategic why. I mean, Ukraine has trains, they have trucks. Why invest $350 million in cargo drones?
It solves what they're calling the middle mile crisis.
The gap between the big depots in the rear and the actual trenches.
Think about how vulnerable a truck convoy is in this war. To get supplies from a railhead in Lviv to a brigade near the front, you're driving hundreds of kilometers. The closer you get, the more dangerous it is.
The roads are mined, they're under constant surveillance by Russian Orlan drones, and once a convoy is spotted, it's targeted by artillery or FPVs.
And that's not even mentioning the mud season, the Rasputitsa, which can literally swallow vehicles whole.
True.
The Ultra-Ray just flies over all of that. It ignores the mines, it ignores the mud, it ignores the ambushes. It creates an airborne logistics artery that's completely independent of the terrain.
And with a 2,000-kilometer range, you can launch these from deep inside western Ukraine, way out of range of most Russian missile strikes, and have them delivered directly to the operational zone.
Or you use that range to fly unpredictable routes. Instead of a straight line that radar can track, the Ultra-A can dogleg around air defense bubbles, fly low through valleys.
It can get supplies to units that are completely cut off.
So operational depth isn't just about distance, it's about flexibility. And there were hints in some reports that the Ultra-Ray is modular.
Right. Logistics is the main job, but the platform can handle other things.
If you can carry 100 kilos of batteries and bandages, you can carry 100 kilos of sensors. And now you have a potential ISR platform. Imagine a fleet of these acting as high-altitude communication relays, beaming data between frontline units that have lost their Starlink connection.
Or, as some analysts have quietly suggested, it could deploy munitions, a sort of mothership concept where the Ultra-A flies 1,000 kilometers and then releases a swarm of smaller FPV drones deep behind enemy lines.
And while the UK's Ministry of Defense is very focused on the logistics role, which is vital, the platform's architecture certainly allows for that. It completely turns the logic of the front line on its head. If you can deploy a drone swarm from 500 kilometers inside Russia, there is no safer area anymore.
That brings us to the industrial side of this. One Ultra-Ray is an interesting tool, a fleet is a strategy. The numbers coming out of this UK-Latvia drone capability coalition are just massive.
The target is 100,000 drones delivered to Ukraine in 2025.
100,000, that's an astonishing number.
And the UK has earmarked $350 million just for this manufacturing push. This isn't about donating old stock from a warehouse, this is industrial warfare.
It feels like a return to a World War II-style mobilization, but for robotics. And it's not just one drone. Windracers is handling the heavy lift, but they're integrating with systems like the Malloy T-400.
The Malloy is the perfect complement to it. It's a heavy lift quadcopter, so it has vertical takeoff and landing.
Okay, I see.
So the Ultra-Ray does the long haul middle mile, landing at some rough field strip near the front. Then the Malloy picks up the pallet and flies that final dangerous last mile directly into the trench or to the artillery position.
It's a completely unmanned supply chain. From the factory to the foxhole, human exposure to risk is minimized at every step.
And the sheer volume puts immense pressure on Russia. They simply don't have a comparable automated logistics chain. They're still relying on trains and trucks, which Ukraine is systematically targeting and dismantling.
Right. Dismantling the enemy's logistics is one thing, but defending your own airspace is another. This is where we need to talk about Project Aussie Tupo. The name is fantastic, but the technology addresses a really grim economic reality.
The cost exchange ratio. For the last couple of years, Russia has been launching waves of these Iranian-designed Shahed drones. They're slow, they're loud, and they're relatively cheap, maybe $20,000 to $50,000 a piece.
And we've seen Ukraine shooting them down with NASAMS or Patriot missiles that cost, what, $1 to $3 million each?
Yeah. You don't need to be an economist to see that's a losing strategy in the long run.
You'll go bankrupt before they run out of drones.
Project Octopus flips that whole equation on its head. It's a UK-Ukraine joint venture to build interceptor drones.
So instead of a multi-million-dollar missile, we're launching a fast, agile drone to hunt another drone. How does that work, technically? I mean, a Shahed is still a moving target. Hitting it is hard.
It relies on very advanced machine vision. The interceptor is launched, it gets pointed in the right direction by ground radar, but that final attack run, the terminal phase, is all handled by the drone's onboard AI. It locks onto the visual silhouette of the Shahed.
And then what? It shoots it.
It rams it.
Yeah.
Or it detonates a small fragmentation charge right next to it. It's a kinetic kill. And because the intercept drone itself is so cheap to produce, the cost drops to less than 10% of the target's value.
And that's the magic number. If your defense is cheaper than their offense, the attacker loses their advantage.
And mass production started early this year. They're targeting thousands per month. This allows Ukraine to stop wasting its best missiles on, mopeds with wings. They can save the Patriots for the Russian cruise missiles and the Su-34 bombers.
The threats that really require a high-end interceptor, it's a layered defense.
Exactly. Octo-TQ handles the low-end trash. Patriots handle the high-end hitters.
But you mentioned the onboard AI. That's a perfect lead-in to the Brave One data room.
This is, I think, maybe the most significant long-term development of all. Ukraine, with help from Palantir, has created this secure data environment, and they are feeding it petabytes of video footage from the entire war.
Real combat footage.
Yeah.
Drone feeds, helmet cams, CCTV, everything.
Everything. And they're using this massive data set to train computer vision models. They are teaching an AI to recognize a Russian T-90 tank hidden under camouflage netting, or to spot a soldier hiding in a tree line with a level of accuracy that a human just can't match.
The cognitive load on a human pilot staring at a grainy screen for hours,
Yeah.
It's huge. You miss things.
The AI doesn't get tired. And it's all about speed, what they call machine speed. In a drone-on-drone dogfight, or when a swarm of 50 drones attacks a position, a human operator cannot click fast enough to target them all.
But an AI system can.
The AI can identify, prioritize, and engage all 50 targets in the time it takes a human to blink.
That is the threshold of autonomous warfare. The hardware, the ulti-array, the Oxtertopsum, it's all useless without the software to run it at that speed.
And the training loop for the humans is fascinating too. The UK's Operation Interflex, which has been training Ukrainian troops, has been extended through 2026. But the whole dynamic has shifted.
It used to be NATO instructors teaching basic infantry tactics.
Now it's more like a seminar. The Ukrainian veterans arriving in the UK have more real-world experience with drone warfare than any NATO general. A Swedish pilot in the program even said they're learning just as much from the Ukrainians.
Wow.
They're codifying lessons on how to survive on a battlefield where you are always being watched.
So Ukraine has basically become the world's premier testing ground and university for modern warfare.
Without a doubt.
So when we put this all together, the 2,000-kilometer cargo drone, the cheap interceptors, the AI integration, what's the big picture takeaway?
I think what we're seeing is the democratization of strategic air power.
That's a big concept. Break that down.
Well, for the last century, if you wanted to strike a target 2,000 kilometers away or supply an army deep in enemy territory, you needed a superpowers budget. You needed B-52s, massive air refueling tankers, billions in infrastructure.
It was a very exclusive club.
The LTRA kicks the door down. You can now project power, logistical, and yes, potentially kinetic power across a continent using cheap aluminum drones and smart software. You don't need the billion-dollar Air Force anymore. You just need the Jeep of the skies.
It gives a smaller nation, like Ukraine, an asymmetric tool to challenge a massive adversary. They can't match Russia's raw tonnage, so they have to out-innovate them.
And they're turning drones into infrastructure. That, I think, is the key shift. Drones aren't just weapons anymore. They are the logistics backbone. They are the air defense shield. They are the nervous system of a modern army.
And it creates a battle space where there is no front and no rear.
That's the provocative thought I keep coming back to. If a cheap autonomous drone can fly from London to Marrakesh, or from Kyiv to the Urals, carrying a significant payload,
The concept of a safe rear area is dead.
it's gone. Every fuel depot, every barracks, every factory within 2,000 kilometers is now on the front line.
The geography of war has just collapsed.
Distance is no longer a defense.
A sobering reality for the aggressor, but a lifeline for the defender. It is just incredible to see how quickly this technology has matured from theory to mass production.
It's a testament to necessity. And for everyone watching, it's a preview of what all future conflicts are going to look like.
You've been listening to Defense Report by Alex Naria, where we analyze the latest in military strategy, global defense, and advanced weaponry.
If you found this deep dive valuable and you want to support our coverage of these critical developments, make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Subscribe to Defense Reports, your go-to source for timely, in-depth military and defense reports. We'll catch you next time.